Hello, Steve Say 9. Well, another in the line of Stephen King films I watched once in the cinema and then couldn't remember. Bought on DVD, didn't watch, couldn't remember. So I just was doing a little marathon. I thought I'm just going to work through all these films. So the next one that I watched was 1408, which is the room 1408 in the hotel, the Dolphin Hotel. I think it was in New York. It was much better than I remembered. It was much different from what I remembered. And I understand why I didn't remember a lot of this film, because so much of the film is just the main character played by John Cusack trapped in this room having this paranormal phantasmagoric experience, which just sees scenario after scenario after scenario of things happening to him in this one room, which they built so many different versions of. There's one that gets flooded with water, there's one that tilts, there's one that catches on fire. They really spent a lot of money on practical effects with this film, and it is a bit of a tour de force of effects and acting, because it's mostly just John Cusack alone in a room. The film starts off with this guy who is basically he's an author. He wrote one good book, but it didn't sell really well. And then he started doing like haunted house reviews, sort of reviewing haunted hotels and stuff like that. And he got a lot of success with that. So then he just keeps, of course, producing the same thing over and again, haunted hotels, volume 10, blah, 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 that sort of thing. And he's going on little book tours where only he gets a few people, and he's very cynical. He's sort of writing about these places. He doesn't really believe any of them are actually haunted, and it's all a bit sad. Now, eventually he gets, because he gets invited from people all the time to go to their hotels and stuff like that, and they want him to go to promote it because then their bookings are going to go up and everything, and it's sort of a win-win. So he gets a postcard saying, "Don't go to 1408 from this hotel," and that's a postcard from the hotel. So, of course, he goes. He tries to book the room and they won't let him. So he gets legal involved, because basically he's like, "How dare you deny me this room?" And legally they can't deny him the room if it's available. So he does get in, he goes. And the manager, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, does not want him to go into this room. He absolutely tries so hard. He literally gives him a book of all the people. There's been 58 or something deaths of people, not just suicides, but natural causes. And he's saying, "Look, I don't want to clean up another mess. Do not go in this room." And of course he thinks he's just selling it, so, he doesn't really believe it. Now, the guy is a bit of a loner. He's left his wife after his daughter died of cancer, and he's a bit of a mess. And he's just cynical and bitter. And he goes in just, expecting this to be your regular sort of haunted sort of hotel, sort of just for marketing sort of thing. So he goes up there. The guy Samuel really does try and talk him out of it, but he doesn't succeed. He gives him the key. He also gives him the book of all the deaths. It still doesn't deter him. And he goes up, and he doesn't come out of the elevator. He's like, "This is as far as I go." They clean the place once a month with several people there to watch each other's back, because stuff always happens there. So he goes in, things seem normal at first, then things slowly start to happen. The radio starts playing. He sees spirits jumping out the windows. Initially the room was too hot, and a guy came up, but he wouldn't come into the room. He just told him how to fix the radiator or whatever it was, the thermostat. But he wouldn't come in, then he leaves before, as soon as it's fixed. He doesn't even say goodbye. So people are generally afraid of the room. And then he realises things are happening. Like I said, there's a tour de force of effects. So many things happen. It starts off just with the radio playing and him seeing spirits, and then just things just keep happening and happening and happening. The room catches on fire. The room floods. He's attacked by a spirit. He sees himself, a version of himself, outside a window because he's trying to yell for help. He tries to throw things out. They disappear before they hit the ground, just like the spirits disappear before they hit the ground. There seems to be some sort of proximity. And it's just thing after thing after thing after thing. He tries to contact his wife online. He actually does speak to her and gets her to come to the hotel. But, of course, he's not there, but he is. He's trapped, but he's disappeared. They can't see him, but he's still there. He tries to escape out the window and then tries to climb around the outside, which is something I did once for her I was watching that. I'm like, I can't believe I did that myself. Never get on the outside of a building and go between window to window. It's not a good idea. Now, fortunately for me, the next window was there. For him, it actually disappears, and then there's just the two windows and just a brick wall going on forever. So he ends up having to go back. It's just nightmare scenario after nightmare scenario after nightmare scenario. And eventually he starts a fire and dies in the fire. And that's the end. It's quite a dark film. But he is reunited with his daughter's ghost. So there is something to that. And at the end, the hotel manager goes to his funeral and tries to give his possessions to his wife, and you just see a ghost of him in his. So he's not totally gone, and he actually tries to thank the wife, sort of on behalf of the hotel, because when he set the fire, he destroyed the rooms enough that they could justify just not repairing them and leaving them closed for good, so they don't ever have to worry about anyone having to go in there again and risking their life or being injured. So he kind of saved people in future because he actually destroyed the room. It's actually quite a dark film. It's quite amazing how much time they spend on just that one character in the room and how much they put him through. And I'm surprised I forgot it, but I kind of understand why I did, because it's sort of the same thing over and over again. It's just experience after experience after experience. Once we sort of have him sort of, get the letter and go into the hotel and speak to Samuel Jackson, the rest of the film is all him in the room pretty much. But it's good. I will watch it again. I wish I'd turned the lights off and really focused on it, but I didn't realize, I didn't remember it was as good as it was. So yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. It was reasonably successful. It cost $25 million and it made $133 million, so it did okay. For just, John Cusack in a room, it did pretty well. But I'm going to go. Thanks. Bye.